What's up, my friends? It's the Man. Once again, I'm going to review the MetaZoo Hour for the second week of July 2025. It went pretty quick. I thought it was another good one. I thought it was better in text form because I could actually read it past when it was done. I think that some questions were answered, and a lot of it was just conversation. There's not a lot of substance to this one, but there was a lot of good talk, and the conversation is really good, especially when you're building up a brand, rebuilding what you had as a company, rebuilding the community. So I'll start off at the top. A lot of the same questions were asked previously, and again, I'm going to voice through Charlie. Like Charlie's going to be filtered through me, so it's going to be a lot different than what he actually said. And basically, it's like, please stop asking about the fourth walls. This is a new game. There's not going to be fourth walls. There's not going to be the same kind of things as the old game. There's not going to be use for the coins. There's not going to be redemptions for the skateboards. All that stuff is in the past. It's a new company. We just bought the product that was in the past and made a new company, new gameplay, new everything. It's not the same people who owed you money, so please stop. People asked about the collecticons. I know I asked about the collecticons. Really didn't have a lot. No answers, really. No answers whatsoever on the collecticons about who's going to be there, if Charlie's going to be there, what artists. I'm assuming Lily's going to be there because the promo was released, has a Jersey Devil on it for the collecticon jersey for this weekend. It looks amazing. I will get the promo. I can't wait to get the promo. I hope Lily's there to sign and doodle over it, whatever. I just can't wait for that. But I'm hoping that there's going to be a card game tournament or something. A lot of questions were asked about products. Menace asked a question about like holograms. I don't know if you ever see like the comic books back in the day that had the holograms on it. It was like the thick card stock with the film over it that you can kind of change it. It's like Spider-Man over here, and then it's like the Green Goblin when you turn it this way. Or the cars that had like the ridges in it, and if you shine in a certain light, it would like pop out or have a different change of view of the card when you moved it under a different light. Try to say like the idea, but there's all these things that are involved in it. There's all those things involved in making the sleeves, making the card, the dices, the different bags, the binders, and all the stuff that everyone's asking about. They want all this extra stuff that old zoos had. Well, you just want to fall into the old zoo problems. The old zoo problems were, yeah, we have 100,000 items that were printed, made, and there's not 100,000 people that want these items. So they just sit in the warehouse and they lose money every month, month after month, and then they got to liquidate it. He doesn't want to fall for that same trap. He doesn't want to lose money. He doesn't want to put out all this money in hopes that people buy stuff when people aren't even playing the game or collecting it to the point where it's feasible yet. So he's like, let me build the game. We are building a game first and foremost, and then we're building it as a collector's item second, and then everything else is coming after that. So there's all this information, flyer, front of the channel. Fellow member of MetaZoo Pennsylvania, he asked, hey, what are the organized play rules going to be like? What is the setup? And there was a lot of questions and a lot of answers regarding that. And basically it comes down to this. I'll summarize it in pretty much one small phrase. Hey, we're working on it. Not everything's finalized. We're working on judges. We're working on locations. We're working on structure. We're working on the pricing. We're working on setting it up. You could set up your local comic shop by going to the Cardio website. There's a whole link and stuff there. It's in the frequently asked questions part of the Discord, and that'll get you set up, your local comic shop set up to be able to do that. They have to do that themselves, so you're not doing it for them. The local comic shop has to do that to set you up for pricing and all this other stuff. Everything else is in the works, so please bear with us as we focus on the gameplay and then also doing the OP. OP is really important to us. So that's basically the gist of all that. Other than that, there was just questions on, another question about OP. What about, I think MetaZoo Menace had a question about this. He related it to like Mortal Kombat, how there's a structured tier. And it's like, you got to face this guy, and then you got to face this guy, and then Shao Kahn's on the top, and you got to face Shao Kahn, and he's like really OP, and then you beat him, and then you're like, oh man, I beat the game. That sort of thing. Charlie loved the idea. He said he wants to incorporate that in some way. He said he has it makes sense in the lore, it makes sense in what they're doing. So hopefully we see something like that. Big ups to MetaZoo Menace for coming up with some really good questions, important questions. Something that's actually changing the face of the company a little bit, or the direction. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of stuff answered as far as what people expected. People were asking about print runs. He said, please stop asking about print runs. Basically, I will announce print runs when it's advantageous for us as a company to do so. And if you own a company, if you've ever had to sell your company or your ideas to another person sell, meaning like you had to, push your product or your brand or something out to another person to say, hey, invest in this or buy into this, and I've done that before, so I know where he's coming from, then you know that the numbers have to be skewed in a way that's advantageous to the company before you can do that. If you post something, you say something that is insider baseball of your company, then you are at risk of scrutiny, or numbers can be, you know, they're malleable. You can make them, skew them how you need to make a point or make a graph fit what you're trying to say or trying to design. So he's kind of saying, I'll announce those things as they come up, if they are necessary. It doesn't make sense for me to tell you how many poncho boxes that there are, because it doesn't affect me right now in a positive manner. If it does one day, then one day I'll do that. A lot of the question was about the inks. I believe Menace asked about the inks too. Menace had a lot of good questions. Inks are coming back to MetaZoo. They're going to be fit into the lore, fit into the product in a way that makes sense. They were kind of shoehorned in previously to be like, hey, there's an errata here. It breaks down fourth walls. Not fourth walls as a term in the game, but a fourth wall is in, hey, the game works on these four walls, and this breaks the fourth wall, being like cuts down erratas or makes erratas not erratas anymore, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think he's trying to say he loves the idea of the inks, and he wants to make it long term, more effective, more important. Yeah, so it was all the questions about all the different types of products, all different types of what we can do, possibilities with the game. And he kind of says, hey, I'll go broke if I make every idea happen. Let's focus on the gameplay. Let's focus on acquiring more customers and reacquiring more of the old customers. Let's bring people together. Let's do good things. Let's show the product is good. Let's make great pricing for the OP so that people want to play the game. Incentives for Zoo to continue as a whole, and then we can worry about all that stuff down the line if it makes sense to do that. Makes sense to me. So not a lot of questions about the Collecticon, not a lot of questions answered just in general, just because there was a lot of questions that were asked, and it's hard to be, a Fowler CEO, of the spokesperson for the company, and marketing and all this stuff. I get it. Charlie's a very busy person. He's also setting up for the Collecticon as far as infrastructure and all that. He's got a team of people. I get it. And I appreciate the hour that he has to spend with us just to talk. Not everything's going to be answered, and that's cool. I think this was informative where it needed to be. I think it was very transparent where it needed to be. I think it was very wise to be able to speak on this level with a CEO that's not trying to sugarcoat things or trying to change the narrative on things. He's telling you how it is, and I really appreciate that. I think Charlie's just one of us. He's a collector and a game player, and I think he fits in with our circle and our community. If he wasn't an owner of MetaZoo, he'd probably be playing it or he'd be collecting it just like us. So I think that's everything. If I missed something, I missed it. We'll talk about it at the end of the week. Sign off. Did I miss anything? Did I miss something important? You tell me. I would love to hear it. And I think that's everything for today. So thank you so much for watching. Again, another great MetaZoo hour. Can't wait for the next one. I'll see you guys at Collecticon. As always, be cool, do good, and be nice to each other. All right, y'all.